Hello and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign and the Garian tabletop. I am Garian Reaver. This is the second battle of round 6, seeing 2,100 points of Empire versus 2,000 points of Sylvanian Vampire counts. We are once again in the muddy hilly land of Stirland as a load of necromancers are moving across, and they have been met by a force led by Volkmar the Grim, who is determined to get back his dignity. We're going to be playing a scenario that I've not played before on the channel, so we will see how it goes, but I'll come back to that in a sec. First, let's look at the armies. The Empire force is, as I mentioned, led by Volkmar the Grim, who is once again mounted on a war altar of Sigmar. He is joined by one of the two arch-lectors of the Empire, Aglim, and two additional warrior priests, Priest Kraft, who is returning, and Priest Dion. Alongside these we have a captain, because warrior priests can't wield a banner, so we have Alvin Mannheim as the battle standard bearer. Here's the rest of the army, and as you can see it is very combat heavy. The only range stuff is the pistoliers and the artillery, and this is because battle prayers only work in close combat, and I have 4 people who can cast battle prayers. That's the only magic on this side, so I'm going to be trying to flood the field with battle prayers and use all of the additional dice I'm going to get from the channeling to shut down their magic. So we've got big units of halberdiers and swordsmen, and a decent sized unit of great swords supported by some artillery. And over on the Sylvanian side we have the returning character Jacques Flesh-Eater, the Master Necromancer leading this force. However, he is also joined by another returning character. Evold Shift, previously of the Empire, has now returned to fight them. He has been swapped to a necromancer, so he is now technically undead. I mean, necromancers in Sylvanian armies, vampire armies, it's arguable whether they are dead, but they are counted as dead for the rules. Then we have 2 other level 1 necromancers. We have Timur, Becken, and Kant. And the idea of them is they're just going to keep casting Invocation of Nehek. And then finally there is a White King, Rekir Night Lord, who is the battle standard bearer. The rest of the force, I'm going for a slightly different design for this. I'm trying a massive block of skeletons, because lots of little blocks, as I've been told in the comments, is a bad way to go, because then you fail combat res and they all take wounds. A single massive block, though, should help. They are supported by a unit of Crypt Ghouls, a huge unit, relatively, of Black Knights, who should be a massive hammer, and a big unit of Hex Wraiths, who are hopefully going to survive long enough to get behind enemy lines and do some damage. Something I will mention now is something I alluded to in the previous one. I realised that all of the bases in this version of the mod were wrong, because they changed the base size between 8th edition and the old world. They made basically all infantry about 5mm bigger. I don't know why, it just seems like a middle finger to their old fans, but whatever, I've fixed it. So I spent ages going through and rebasing them so that they are all accurately sized. These are all the sizes that they should be. And I mentioned in the previous one that I would be releasing it as a mod, and I have. It is linked in the description. You can go check that out, and it is basically this table, complete and ready to play with all of the armies. So all of this I've done myself. Well, I say all of this I've done myself. All of this I have tweaked from what was originally in this mod. Full list of credits in the description of the... in the discussions of the mod page. On the same note, I'm also working on new spell cards to be used in these, instead of having to use like proxies like this. They will be visible on the screen during this one, because I will have completed them by the time this video goes out, but I didn't complete them in time to actually use them in the recording of this. Anyway, back to the board and the scenario. We are going with a meeting engagement scenario, and the thing with this is that it's sort of random which units are on the board at the beginning of the game. First, we roll off to see who chooses the board edge, so we've got the 2 dice here, and I've realised that labelling them would probably help, Sylvania and Empire. So, the Empire chooses. So, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that if you hover over them, it gives you a total. That's really cool. That would actually have been helpful sooner. Anyway, the Empire will go with this side so that they have the hill. Oh, that is actually the side they're on. Good. So here are the deployment zones, this triangle and this triangle. The way meeting engagement differs, as I said, it has some randomness in which units are on the board at the beginning. You roll a d6 for each unit, so I put Aglim in with the swordsman, Dion in with the great swords, and Kraft in with the halberdiers. So I'll roll a d6 for each of these in turn, and then on a 1, they are not deployed at the beginning, and they come on as reinforcements. So I'll go right to left, starting with Volkmar. I rolled that. That was the wrong dice. That was artillery dice, sorry. Volkmar's on. Halberdiers, they're on. Swordsman, no. So swordsmen are held back in reserve. That's really annoying. They were the centerpiece of the battle line, whatever. Great swords, yes. Pistoliers, yes. Great cannon, no. Volley gun, yes. And mortar, no. Well, that's pretty awkward. So the swordsman, great cannon and mortar are not deployed at the beginning. So now I deploy the rest of these entirely before the vampires deploy any of theirs. I realise I forgot to colour the bases, so the Empire are blue and the vampires are purple. Hopefully these are different enough to tell apart. Let me know if you think they're not, and in the future I'll do something different. Anyway, first of all, as I'm having to deploy everything, we'll have Volkmar right in the middle, as he is the new linchpin of the army. I can do this in whatever order I want, so let's go with the volley gun on the hill, and the halberdiers on this side of Volkmar. The angle of the board isn't quite right. 15 degrees, I cannot get them quite in line with the thing. That's sort of annoying. Great swords on this side, because this was the plan, you see. I've got a priest in each one, Volkmar in the middle, and when he casts a battle prayer, all the ones within this green circle are also affected. So the idea is that with these overlapping sort of battle prayers, everyone is going to be covered. The pistoliers I'll put over here because they're intended to operate on their own. And that's all. Before Sylvania deploys, we've got to do their spells, and I'm just going to save a bit of time. Timur and Kant are just taking the signature spell. Doesn't matter what they roll, they are taking Invocation of Nehek. That is why they exist. Jacques, however, I will be rolling for him. He is a 4th level. They're both 1st levels. So Jacques, he gets 4 spells, first of all. Dance Macabre. Yeah, I'll take that for him. His 2nd spell is Gaze of Nagash. Yeah, he's on a corpse cart, so he shouldn't be in combat, so he can use magic missiles. Actually, no. That's probably the least useful one. So, especially given their high combat build. So I think I will actually swap that one for Invocation of Nehek. So I need him to have it, and yeah, there are better ones he could get still. So the next one is Curse of Years. Yes, I was hoping he'd get that, because that's a really fun one. And his final spell is Wind of Death. Not bad, although Wind of Death, he's probably not going to be able to use, because he's going to be behind my lines, and I don't want him doing a vortex through those. Evald. He is a 2nd level death wizard, so he gets 2 of these. The Caress of Lanith. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good one, so I will take that. And his 2nd one is Aspect of the Dread Knight. Unit causes fear. That is literally worthless. Then again, the Terror. Yeah, I'll take that for the Terror, because frankly, Spirit Leech isn't very useful. Necromancers do not have particularly high leadership. He's only got a 7. So, like, competing against basically anything you'd want to use it on, they're going to have equal or higher leadership than him, so... Right, now I roll like I did for this side. I roll a d6 for each unit, and on a 1 they do not arrive. And I have to really, really hope at least one of these arrives, because otherwise we're going to have trouble keeping everyone up until the necromancers get here. But I might just waive that rule, because otherwise it could be a massive issue. Anyway, starting with Jacques. He arrives, never mind. Then Evald. He arrives. Timur. He arrives. Kant. He arrives. Crypt Ghouls. If everything arrives, this could be really bad. Yeah, And skeletons. Yup. And the Black Knights. Okay, this is looking really bad. And the Hex Wraiths. Yes. Everything. Everything in the vampire army is going to be here from the beginning, whereas they're down their biggest defensive unit and 2 of their best offensive units. Uh-oh. This is why I've not played this battle before, because it's only a 1, but getting 3 1s out of like 7 or 8 and getting no 1s on this side. It just adds a level of randomness to these games, which just can tip it right from the very beginning. So let's go with the Skeleton Warriors right here. We'll put Jacques just there. By the way, you can see he's got 3 circles around him. It's getting a bit crazy with the extra lines now. I mean, he's got 2. The blue is, of course, the inspiring presence from the general. The inner green for Jacques is when an augment is targeting the cart, all undead gain within the inner green circle gain always strike first. And the other one is wizards in 24 have -1 casting because he bought the Balefire for the cart. There are actually no wizards on this side of the board. Like, the battle priests do not count as wizards, so therefore no one is affected by that. But of course, he didn't know that when he bought it. So yeah, basically ignore this outer green line. Turns out not useful in this, but these 2 are. Gonna have the Black Knights over on this far flank. They are planning to just come around and smash stuff. This could be really one-sided with how... Ooh, I'm suddenly concerned. The Hex Wraiths are going to go here because they can use the trees as cover. And the Ghouls are going to go here because they can come around this side as well. Because the idea is this is a giant anvil. And I know that Skeleton Warriors don't work great as an anvil, but I've given them shields and swords so that they have a parry save. And they're the most anvil-y unit I had available, really. I spent a lot of points on these knights. Evold needs to go somewhere where he can shoot characters, so I'm going to hide him around this rock. And then Kant is going to go behind the Crypt Ghouls, and Timur is... No, actually, I'm going to stick both of these behind the skeletons. Their primary purpose, these 2, is to keep the skeletons alive. If the skeleton unit collapses at least too early, then it's pretty much game over. We need them to stay up and be a threatening block to then have the knights and the Hex Wraiths be able to hit in the side of things. For the remaining units on just the Empire side in this, they are subject to reserves, which means that they come onto the board on the Empire player's choice of turns. So they're both, all 3 are going to come in the first turn because frankly, we need them right now. And now we roll 1 dice to decide who goes first. And on a 6, Sylvania gets to decide, and on 1 to 5, the Empire does. That's the trade-off for them having to deploy entirely first. So, wow, Sylvania actually gets to decide. So, ooh, I don't know. I kind of think they want the Empire to go first, because although they're going to get shot, yeah, they are in shooting range of the Hellblaster. Actually, how's this for... No, scratch that then. The vampires want to go first because they are definitely within charging range of that volley gun. So it is Sylvania, turn 1. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, we're 3 mysterious woods, and that's really it for interesting terrain. We've got 2 ordinary hills and 2 bits of impassable terrain. So let's kick off with a charge. The Black Knights are 15 away. They have a movement of 8 -1 for the barding, so they need to roll an 8 in order to get this charge. However, they have swift stride, so I get to roll 3 dice and use the 2 highest. Oh, they get it. They get an 11. This could be over before it's begun, because the Hellblaster volley gun, despite being basically a big rotatory gun, it cannot stand and shoot. So the Black Knights just charge straight up the hill and hit it head on. So the Knights will get impact hits, but we will come back to that in a bit. And actually thinking about it, over on this side, the Hex Wraiths are in charge range of the Pistoliers. And normally they wouldn't be able to charge through woods, but Hex Wraiths are ethereal, meaning they treat all terrain as open terrain as they're essentially ghosts. So they can just charge straight through here and just ignore the trees entirely. So 15 They also have Swift Stride, but they do not have Barding, so they have a movement of 8. They need a 7 on 3 dice, which they get with another 11. So, wow, okay, this is not quite what I expected, but yeah, they're just charging in. So I'd say they were, where were they here? I think they're majority in the front. They're entirely in the front, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Or almost. But yes, the point is that they are met in the front. However, as Hex Wraiths are fast cavalry, I do not give them impact hits. As for the rest of it, I think the Crypt Ghouls are going to move up slightly and then pivot, but they're mostly hanging back. The Skeletons and the others aren't going to move, although I think I'll move the 2 Necromancers up so that they are tucked right up next to these guys. So at the moment, Evold is out of range for everything he wants to do, but that's okay. He's going to play the long game, and he's just going to hide behind this rock until they come to him. Magic 4. Technically, Aglim isn't actually on the battlefield yet, so there are only 3 channeling on the Empire side. Nope. And there are 4 channeling on the Vampire side. That is 1 more. I really don't have many dice to play with, but we've also taken no wounds. Although Jacques does have Master of the Dead, so he can actually grow skeleton units past their starting number, he is instead going to put all 5 dice into a Curse of Years on the Greatswords. He needs a 12 minus his level of 4, so he needs an 8. He gets it, obviously, with a 26 total. Volkmar's going to use all 3 dice to try and dispel. He has no wizard level, so he adds nothing. He basically needs a double 6 in order to stop this, which he does not quite get. So now we roll a dice for every model in this unit, and on a 6 they take a wound. So there is Priest Dion, a champion, and then 29 greatswords. Dion, safe. Champion, safe. 29 greatswords. 2 die. And another 1. So only 3 die. That is remarkably lucky. But that is a remains in play, so that will continue. Those are actually the first casualties. That will continue every turn, every player's magic phase, and the number needed to roll will decrease. So next turn, it will be a 5+ unless it is dispelled. No shooting on the vampire side, so we'll go straight into combat. So let's demolish a Hellblaster volley gun. They don't stand a chance. They really don't. Technically, only 3 have actually made contact with the volley gun itself. So we only get 3 impact hits, and they have 1 additional rank. So due to my homebrew cavalry impact rule, they have 3 impact hits at +1 strength. I've been trying to find out if impact hits hit the war machine or the crew. I literally cannot find any mention of it in the rules. And, like, Google's AI overview seems certain it's against the machine. I don't entirely trust the AI overview, but the machine makes sense. Otherwise, you know, impact hits would just wipe out the crew and basically make the fight irrelevant, although it, to be honest, is barely relevant anyway. But yeah, I don't know what the actual rule is, but I'm going to go with the impact hits are against the machine. So 3 impact hits against the machine. No wounds. And due to the way war machines work in close combat, only 6 models can actually fight. So it's going to be 5 knights and a champion. The knights and the crew have the same initiative, so I will do the crew first because they're definitely going to die. And they test fear, and they fail. So they have weapon skill 1 because they have a leadership of 7. So they have a very low chance to hit, they get none. Then the Black Knights get 7 attacks back because they get 1 for the champion. 4 hit, and any 6s are instant kills. So 1 was beheaded, and then the other 2 just die. So yeah, that's over. They only had 3 wounds. So yeah, good effort, guys. I mean, I really didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. I didn't for a second expect them to be able to charge in the first turn. So I think they are going to overrun, because then they're going to get back here and basically cut off a lot of area that these guys can actually bring their troops on. So they overrun. Do I roll 3 for this? No, I do not. Sorry. I will only use the first 2, so I'll get rid of the third one. So they overrun 7. So they just push on this way. And luckily for them, hills are the one exception to the whole cavalry charging difficult terrain stuff. Fairly sure then, they weren't within 6 inches. Alright. Hex Wraiths. Oh, sorry, they cause terror. So there's actually a chance the Pistoliers would have just fled. I forgot about that. So must immediately take a panic test, and they have a leadership of 7. They hold. Never mind. And they do get to stand and shoot, and there is a purpose to that, because although normally ethereal models cannot be hurt by non-magic weapons, I found something on Warhammer Armies Project that I rather liked, and it's that instead of it just being straight immunity, which can create a bit of a, like, rock, paper, scissors, unless you have something to counter it, you're screwed situation. Instead, I'm going to treat it as a 2+ ward save against non-magic and a 5+ ward save against magic. And that's how I'll treat Ethereal, and I'm fairly sure that's from the Warhammer Armies Project. One of their better ideas. So all 5 of them, including the Outrider champion, have a brace of pistols, which gives them 4 shots each when they get into long range. So it's a range of 12. They were over 12 when they started, so they also went through these woods, so I do have to roll for the woods. Of course it doesn't affect them because they treat all terrain as open terrain, but I do still have to roll for it. I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm going to set myself a reminder. So they were at long range, and they were technically in soft cover because of the woods. So they normally need a 4+ to hit. That's increased to a 5 because of long range, a 6 because of soft cover, 7 because of multiple shots, and an 8 because of stand and shoot. So that means they need to roll a 6 and then a 5+ in order to hit. But they do have 16 shots. 3. Yeah, none. That is abysmal. Ugh. And then the Outrider is slightly better. He only needs a 7+ to hit, which is a 6 followed by a 4+. So 1. Yay! We got a hit, guys. And a wound, which is not saved. Oh, it was not saved by the Ethereal. So they actually lose a Hex Wraith. We have the first casualty on this side. If this guy survives, which he probably won't, if this guy survives, he deserves a commendation because he managed to get a shot on a ghost in the woods as it was charging at him. Anyway, back to the combat. The Hex Wraiths don't get impact hits because they are fast cavalry, so due to initiative, the Pistoliers get to attack first. Sorry, another little rule question I have, because again, doesn't seem to be listed anywhere in the bloody rules. If you pass the terror test, do you automatically pass the fear test for the actual combat? Because they passed the terror in that they didn't flee when they were charged, but terror also causes fear in combat, and in previous editions it's stated if you pass the terror, you automatically pass the fear test for that round. That is not in the 8th edition rules from what I can tell. I'm going to treat it as if it is, because that would make sense and it was before, but it just seems a really weird omission. Or maybe I haven't found it, so apologies, let me know in the comments. But yes, because they have brace of pistols, they get 2 attacks each, and the Outrider doesn't get any additional ones. They're actually dishing out 10 attacks, 8 hit, 2 wound. They do actually get an armor save because being on a horse gives them a 6+. Oh, also Hex Wraiths have great weapons, I forgot that. Anyway, they fail both of their armor saves, but they do also get the 2+ ethereal ward. And again, one fails. So they actually do get a kill, but then the other one doesn't. And now it's time for all of the Pistoliers to die to the literal ghostly Reapers. 9 attacks from the Hex Wraiths, including the champion. 4. Great weapons give them +2 strength, so that is, wow, only 2 wounds. That is surprisingly few. And because they strike at the same time, all 5 skeletal steeds get hit as well, and all 5 hit, dealing 2 more wounds. And whereas the great weapons went through the armor they had, they do have an armor save against this, and both save. So, all in all, only 2 Pistoliers die to that. I am shocked that only 2 died to this devastating attack. But neither side has a banner, neither side has any ranks, so the Hex Wraiths win by 2. So testing their leadership on a 5 with a... Oh, hang on, sorry. I'll leave that there for if I need it, but I forgot the Pistolia horses actually get to attack. I did forget them. They do actually go before the Hex Wraiths, so all 5 do get to attack. 3. 2 wounds. No armor. Again, another died from the Ethereal. Like, another got through the Ethereal. So, that is shocking. These guys have been horrendously unlucky. But yes, anyway, they only lose by 1 instead of the 2 that I thought it was. But they pass the leadership anyway. So they do... Hang on, do they? Yeah, they do, because they needed a 6 and they got a 4. So yeah, they hold. And the Mysterious Woods. So I roll a d6, and that determines what kind of woods they are. They are... Oh, a wildwood. The worst one. Roll a d6 for each unit at least partially in at the end of the movement phase, and on a 4+, they take d6 strength for hits. There aren't any in there, and frankly they're unlikely to be, because yeah, the Hex Wraiths just go straight through it. They can ignore it for the most part. Now it is time for Empire turn 1. So what the hell do we do? We've got the Black Knights who are gonna pivot and smash into here. These guys come on after the charges and stuff, so are we gonna do any charging? 14, they need a 10 to get the charge. That is very unlikely. But it would possibly get them out of the way of the Knights. Or a 9 against the Ghouls. I think... yeah, I think I just need to push forward. I think I need to push forward with all of it. And we don't have anyone who's good at receiving a charge. I think the smart thing here is to bide my time a bit. Get out of the way of the Black Knights while trying to deal with them. And try and make sure that the Ghouls stay out of it by... Oh, that's the halberdier. Sorry, I thought the Greatswords were on that side for some reason. Yeah, so I'm going to move everybody forward a little tiny bit. Oh, right. Sorry. As I was, yeah, they've moved forward a tiny bit. I'm sort of trying to provoke them into a charge, in which case I actually want to go a little bit further forward on this side. Yeah, to there. If I can draw them into a charge, then that would... do they have Frenzy? No, they don't. Damn. That would have... Yeah, if I could have drawn them out with Frenzy, that would have helped. But I cannot. So where do I want to bring stuff on? They may enter anywhere on the long side, it says, which is... I mean, they're very similar lengths. 49 by 40. Alright, so this side. Anywhere on this side. That is an inopportune place to put them. So I guess the Great Cannon is going to have to go here, as far as possible away from the Black Knights. So I guess they're going to move it forward a little and into this Mysterious Wood. So we'll find out what this one is now. Ordinary Wood. Okay, that's good. Means we don't have to worry about anything, and we could just leave the cannon. So where were they? They were an inch back. So he's going to move another 2 inches forwards to there. So from here, he's going to be able to do some good firing work and should be covered by the woods. The mortar. Oh, where on earth do I place the mortar? All right, I think I'll place the swordsman next. So I think, and this, God, this could go really badly or really poorly. I think I need to bring the swordsman on like here. Yeah. All right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring the swordsman on here. So they start there, and they're going to 1, 2. Oh, well, they can't march, but it says they can otherwise act normally. So I think I can bring them on and then reform them to face there. Yeah, as far as I know, that's legal. So I'll do that. And the mortar, I'm going to bring on here. I'm just going to leave that right at the edge. No, I need to move it a bit further forward so that it can pivot. So yeah, I'm just going to move it a smidge forward like that so that it can pivot. So neither of these will be able to fire this turn because they moved, but from next turn onwards, they're going to be able to start raining hell on the skeletons. Helitons. Magic. 6. Now we're channeling 4 on the Empire side. None. And 3 and then 1. Sorry, yeah, I forgot they were also channeling 4. None on their side either. Let's start off with Aglim casting Shield of Faith, because we need to protect this unit that is about to be hit by some knights. So he needs a 3, which he gets. And I kind of think there aren't that many other things they can do. If the vampires don't charge their main line this coming turn, then there really aren't that many more threats that they can do. So he's going to put 4 dice into trying to dispel that. So this is Jacques, so he just needs... I don't know why I rolled 4. He gets a bloody +4 to it. So that was a massive waste of his dispel dice, but it dispelled. Wow. Yeah, that was really silly of me. I wasn't thinking... Let's go with Aglim casting Hammer of Sigmar on 2. Also passes. And with a 10, I mean, is it worth trying it? Probably. He'd need to roll a 6 plus his 4, so that's very unlikely. Yeah, I won't try and dispel that. I think that'll just be another waste. I'm really kicking myself using 4 dispel dice to dispel a bloody 6. So this unit rerolls to wound until next turn. And then just in case, I'm going to go with Volkmar casting Shield of Faith, and it will affect all within 6. So that also casts... Oh, damn, he's got banishment. I forgot he had banishment on on the War Altar. Probably should have cast that. Definitely could have done that with 2 dice. Oh well. So yes, because that was cast by Volkmar on his War Altar... all within 6 inches get it, so all 3 of these now have a 5+ ward in combat. Oh damn, I forgot about Curse of Years. Oh no. Oh, sorry, I was not thinking. I was just like, oh, think of all the battle prayers I can cast. No, I have other things like banishment and dispelling, and that was really silly of me. Speaking of which, at the end of the phase, we now roll to see who gets cursed here. So this is now on a 5+. We have Dion, the champion, and 26 greatswords. Dion, fine. Champion, fine. 26 greatswords, 1 wound, 4 more. So a total of 5 wounds that turn because I forgot to dispel the bloody spell. And next turn it is on a 4+, so I really need to remember to dispel it. Because the only ranged things are either in combat or have just moved on, there is no shooting. So we go back to the Hex Wraiths versus the Pistoliers, and this time we do have to test their leadership for the fear on a 7. They fail, so they have weapon skill 1. They get their 2 attacks each. The Pistoliers 2 hit, 1 wound, no armor, saved by Ethereal. Horse attacks, all miss. 5 skeletal horses, 3 wound, 1 armor save, 2 dead. So leaving just the Outrider to now get hit by 4 Hex Wraiths. 1 extra attack because of the champion, so 5 attacks, 2 hit. And he is dead because he gets no armor save against the high strength. That took much longer than I actually expected to kill off that tiny unit. So they will then, they are going to reform to face this way. Because they are, whereas in the last match I mistakenly used Inner Circle Knights as War Machine Hunters, they are not. Hex Wraiths are, because especially as they are very good at going through the terrain that normally protects them. So it's not looking good for the Empire as we go into Sylvania Turn 2. Let's start off with the Black Knights charging, because although they are clearly arrayed to be prepared for this, this is what the Knights are for. And unless I choose to waste a turn and probably get flank charged, the Knights pretty much have to go straight on. So they are within their minimum, so they can just charge down the hill. And because they are charging down the hill, this is something I really don't get to use much. Because they're charging down the hill, they actually get a +1 to combat resolution. Now, do we want to charge in here? The Crypt Ghouls would definitely lose against the Halberdiers. They just wouldn't stand a chance even with their poisoned attacks. So I think it is in their best interest to hold here. So we just got 2 armies just staring at each other over no man's land. Neither of them wants to charge, and it's basically just a matter of who gets their auxiliary units into a better position first. Because depending on how this combat goes, either a damaged unit, a swordsman's going to come around here, or the knights are going to start hitting in the rear. So yeah, that could really make the difference. So the Hex Wraith, let's see, they are 28 away. That's way too far to do any charging or anything, so pivot 1 and then 7 inches. They're still 8 away, yep, so they are gonna... Oh, they can't march. That is the thing about vampire counts, they are unable to march. Unless they are vampiric or within range of the general, which Hex Wraiths are not. Magic. 8. Channeling Empire. 1. Channeling Vamps. Ooh, 2. Oh, damn. I think he's... Oh, no. Ooh, he is just within the front arc. Ooh, he was almost safe. I forgot that direct damage spells need to be in the front arc. So, Evald is very seriously considering trying to kill Priest Craft. Yeah, let's go with Caress of Lenif. It needs 6 on 2 dice plus his level of 2. So a total of 10. That is almost certainly going to kill him, so they need to do something to try and stop that. But they also need to save enough dice to get rid of that Curse of Years before it does anything damaging. So I think they can afford 2 dice, but they're not going to be able to dispel it on 2, are they? They need to get 10, so they need 3 dice minimum. I actually think they're not going to bother dispelling. Like, it sounds callous, considering Craft is almost certainly going to die, but they need the dice. They've got so many power dice that this is not going to go well. So yeah, they're not going to dispel. Oh, sorry, he gets hit by a number of hits equal to 2d6 that wound on a 4+. So here's a strength of 4, so 2d6 minus 4. Oh, he only gets hit by 1. He won't die from it. Sorry, I misunderstood it. So, wounded on a 4+, so he does take a wound, but otherwise, that could have gone worse for him. Like, I was certain he was going to die from that. Next, Jacques is going to do an Invocation of Nehek. It's going to be a basic one, because he only needs to hit the skeletons, really, because he can't possibly hit them, the Hex Wraiths, they're too far away. So, he's going to do an Invocation on 3 dice. Needs a 2, basically. Yep, so that's a total of 11. Are they even going to be able to dispel that? I think they're going to let that one through as well. Like, to be honest, this is a bit of a like a game of chicken, in a way, because they need to dispel Curse of Years, but if they dispel it too early in the turn, then they can just recast it. So they basically need to run down the number of power dice before they can dispel it to stop it just coming straight back again. So yeah, they're not going to dispel that. Then again, it's going to gain d6 plus 4 wounds of skeletons. Yeah, no, that's fine. d6 plus 4. I'll allow it. 1. Best it could have been. So there are now 5 additional skeletons, and I need to be able to place them, because I've got these guys just a smidge too close. So I actually cannot place one there or one there because they're just slightly overlapping the bases. So, whoops. Also, I forgot about life leeching, the lore attribute for death, because I rarely use death. Because it inflicted 1 wound on a 5+, it gets an extra power dice. Yes! Ooh, nasty. Okay, I think at this point they've got to dispel Curse of Years. And there was a thing I saw, and I think it was in Warhammer Armies Project again, or maybe it was in House Rules, I don't remember, I've been doing a lot of reading online, and it's that remains in place stuff can only be dispelled at the beginning of the magic phase. This was like a proposed rule, essentially, and it would stop this sort of game of chicken, and I might do this in the future, just because, yeah, this game of chicken, when it's just me, you know, when it's a game of chicken against yourself, you're always going to lose. You're also always going to win, but you get my point. So I think they're going to dispel it on 4 dice, so they need a 12. It's gone. They easily get that, so Curse of Years is gone. Of course, the other way you could get around this rule is have it that on a turn when it remains in spell play is dispelled, it cannot be recast. From what I can tell, neither of these is an official rule. Again, I may just be unable to find it, but of the two, I think I prefer you have to do the dispelling at the start of the magic phase. But yeah, let's go with the Curse of Years on the Swordsman this time, as the Great Swords are a bit diminished now. Sorry, not Swordsman, Halberdiers on 5 dice, because he can definitely cast it on that. 14, 18 with his level. Trying to dispel. They don't get enough. So that is a new Curse of Years on the Halberdiers, but first we have to see what happens this time. There is Kraft, the champion, and then 39 other Halberdiers. Kraft dies. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, because he was weakened by the caress of Lanif, he died to the Curse of Years. Oh, he had a magic shield. Ah, okay. Sorry, Kraft. Champion survived. 39 others. 4. Oh, 8. 8 die. Oh, that's not good. Even with Kraft, that's only 9 out of 41, so that is not quite enough to trigger a panic, but very close. And because Jacques cast Invocation of Nehek that targets all within, including himself, that is an augment targeting the corpse cart, so all within 6 inches gain always strikes first. So that is the skeletons, the crypt ghouls, and both of these characters. No shooting, so we go to this pivotal combat. First of all, impact hits. This time it is 5 impact hits at +1 strength. 3. Ganama, 1 pass, 2 died to impact hits. The Swordsman champion will challenge and be met by the Black Knight's champion. But first of all, Fear, testing on the Arch Lectors 9. Pass, nice one. Swordsman champion first, 1, no wound. Black Knight champion, 2, and he has a lance, so +2 strength, meaning 2 wounds. Sorry, I'll come back to the knight in just a moment. I've made note that he's inflicted 2 wounds. I forgot that Aglim gives his unit hatred, and they also have rerolls to wound. So he actually gets to reroll his missed attack, which still misses, and reroll the wound, which still fails to wound. Okay, well, I gave him his chance. It's too high strength for him to get any armor, but he does get parry save. Oh, he saves 1, but unfortunately he did not save the other. So the champion is killed by the Black Knight champion. In the rest of the combat, Aglim is going to make way so that he can get into the combat itself. And he goes next. 2 hit. No wound. The swordsmen strike at the same time as the knights, so I will do the knights first. 9 knight attacks. 7. Due to the lances, that is 7 wounds. Again, no armor, but they do get a parry. Wow, and 2 saved it, so only 5 die. I forgot Mannheim was in the unit. Whoops. I didn't notice him there at all. He definitely should have challenged instead because he's better suited for it. Oh well, I'll know that for next time. And actually he gets 4 attacks because he has 3 plus he's carrying 2 hand weapons. Only 1. Wound. They get a pretty good armor. And fail. Oh. No, it's okay. I was suddenly worried that someone had struck who was dead by then, because actually he gets to strike before the knights do. But no, because their 3rd rank didn't actually fight. By my count, there are actually 21 swordsmen who get to attack, because these are in diagonal, and they're a horde, so they get an extra row. 6. Another 5, 11. Only 1 wound, and they have a 2 plus armor, which they obviously make. So, no wounds in return. That's devastating. Okay. So, reroll to wound and reroll to hit. I completely bloody forgot again. So, a thing that's worth noting is that the hatred from the reroll to wound from Aglim does not affect other characters, but the reroll to wound does. So, Alvin does make his attacks again. Oh no. He gets to reroll the 1 wound because he missed. So he rerolls 1. Oh, never mind. The only hit he got actually did wound. So no, it's just the 21 guys. So we had 11 hits before, rerolling the 10 misses. 7 more. 12 waited for a reroll. There are 5 more wounds. I hope I'm remembering all of this right. And the rerolls, 4 more. So there are 9 more wounds that have just been inflicted. However, they do get a very good armor save. Ooh, I see. Bloody hell, 6 ones. Are you kidding me? Okay, They do not actually get a parry save, because while they normally wield a sword and shield, they used lance on the charge, so they don't actually get a parry save this turn. Wow, so that is 6 knights gone. And then 5 skeletal horses finish off the attacks. 3, no wounds. So we have a banner, and on this side we have a banner, a battle standard bearer, and 2 ranks. So, because they lost 1 extra guy, they do not count as having a 3rd rank. So, the Black Knights win the combat by 1. Due to hold the line, they roll 3 dice. They need an 8 because it's Aglim's 9 minus... Oh no, they're steadfast, so they just need 9. So they hold. Wow. The rerolls turn that around. And now we go into Empire turn 2. I think the Empire need to be bolder. I don't think we need to be afraid of just basic skeleton warriors, not when we've got great swords. I reckon they can just carve through them. I think I get intimidated by the size of the unit and forget how good greatswords are. They're stubborn, they've got great weapons, they're just going to shred through the skeleton warriors. So, let's do some charges. 11 up to 12 because it's 0.1. They'd need an 8. That is unlikely, but there is no reason not to, as they can't do any stand and shoot. So, 8 for the greatswords to charge. And they get exactly 8. Fantastic. The greatswords charge in. To there. And then Volkmar, he has a movement of 8 because he's on the war altar. So he only needs a 5 because it's a 13 distance. So 5. Does he have Swiss Stride? He does, actually. So I do actually get to roll another dice. So 1, 3... and 6. So the 3 and the 6 gives him enough, which is lucky because otherwise he wouldn't have it. So he goes barreling in there. This is something he didn't get to do in the last one. I don't think he fought a single round of combat in the previous game in which he appeared. And then that's 9.2, so 10. The halberdiers need a 6 on 2 dice, which they also get. A whole rash of charges. They could turn this around. So, in they go. And now everybody is either in combat or shooting, so... magic. 7. Channeling 3 for the Empire. Nope. Channeling 4 for the vampires. 2. As I have now finished the magic card project, I have now got this here to show the bound spell inside the Golden Griffin, so I don't need to worry about forgetting it again. My mod adding these spell cards is also linked in the description, so you can get it as well. And just cause I have swapped over all the others as well, so now I can just see these and I know exactly what I'm doing with each of these spells, including the battle prayers. We can start off with a Shield of Faith on Volkmar as he gets +1 to his casting. So, yeah, only needs a 3 for this, so I think I will do 3 dice for this one. 9. And this one is affecting all units within 6 inches, so it does catch the greatswords as well. They do have Priest Dion, but yeah, I think that's worth trying to dispel. So, Jacques is going to dispel that on 3, so there needs to be 9. Oh, it actually matches 9 because it's 5 plus his level of 4, so you do need to beat it to dispel, so that is cast. So that means both the War Altar and the Greatswords have a 5+ ward save in combat. I reckon another Shield of Faith here for the Swordsman because the Black Knights have Killing Blow, which I think I probably forgot to apply last round. I may have given them armor saves when they shouldn't have got them, I'm not sure. No, they had lances, so they didn't get an armor save anyway. It's fine. Yes, 2 on that. It still needs a 3, gets a 7. Again, trying to dispel that with a +4. Oh, again, a 7. What is it, Jacques? Why are you doing this? Why are you failing to dispel? So that is cast as well. And I forgot Curse of Years again. Oh, I did. I completely forgot Curse of Years. There's no way they can dispel that on 2 dice. Oh, God, I'm so stupid. I even looked at it earlier and it's like, yeah, I definitely need to dispel that. Alright, well, I'm going to try. 2 dice. It's not going to work. Yeah. Damn. Damn. So at the end of the thing, luckily it is a different unit, so it isn't cumulative from before, so it's on a 5+. And it's the champion and 31 halberdiers. Champion, safe, 31 halberdiers, 5 die. Oh, 9 die. That would be enough to trigger a panic if they weren't already in combat. I am kicking myself. I'm sorry I keep forgetting that. Alright. I'll try and remember that for next time because this is getting horrendously bad. And I've got to dispel it at the beginning of a magic phase. I need to remember that as well. Shooting, pretty much we only have the Hex Wraiths. Like, the Mortar... Oh, I was going to mortar them, weren't I? Wasn't I? Damn, forgot that. Oh well, I do think I was better charging in and wrecking them, because if I can crush this unit quickly, and that'll just take the bite out of the entire army in a way. Alright, maybe not the bite, but the molars. Alright, so I guess we're going to just use artillery on the Hex Wraiths, which normally wouldn't be effective, but because it's now just a ward save, it is. So... let's go with the cannon. Cannon's going there, so it's 5.9 inches short of the unit. And it overshoots by 10. And that is why you undershoot. Oh, no! It literally just misses. And it lands right on the far side of them. It's a very thin unit to try and cannon. So... yeah, it wasn't the best use of it. Alright, let's try the mortar. Going right for the center of them, and roll scatter. Misfire. And it misfires as a 2. Destroyed! Oh no. I only just got that mortar. And now into the real meat, no pun intended, of this turn is the combat. So it is the Empire gets to decide which one first. I suppose we should do the Black Knights first. So the swordsmen have a 5+ ward. Oh yeah, Alvin's in this. So the challenge did end. So this time Alvin is going to challenge, and the Black Knight champion will accept. First of all, testing for fear on 8 with a reroll. Pass. Alvin gets an extra attack from having an extra hand weapon. 3 hit. No wounds at all. Black Knight attacks. 1. Oh, that was nearly a killing blow, but that is a wound. Armor save. Passed. Horse attack. Miss. Aglim's attacks, and now they no longer have hatred, because this is the second round. 2 hit. No wounds. Now the swordsman and Black Knight strike at the same time. I will do the Black Knights first. 6 attacks. 4. Ooh, 1 killing blow and 2 wounds. So the difference the killing blow makes is there are no armor saves allowed, so that one will just skip straight to the ward save, which they have, and that's why it was important for them to get it. Armor save for the other 2, neither pass, so that is 3, taking the 5+ ward save. And it saves one of them, but 2 die. And then there are 22 swordsmen because the Horde gives them the 3rd rank. 10. Bloody hell, 15. Only 3 wounds. That is shockingly weirdly rolled. But they have an amazing armor save and fail 1, leaving them their 6+ parry, which also they fail. So they do manage, despite all of that bizarre wonky rolling, they do kill a Black Knight. But there are 4 steed attacks, all 4 hit. 1 wound, saved by armor. So the knights get 1 for a banner, the swordsmen get 1 for a banner, 1 for battle standard, and 2 for rank, meaning the swordsmen win by 2. Because the Black Knights are undead, they are unbreakable, but also unstable. So they lost by 2, they don't test, instead they just lose 2 more knights. Let's go with the Halberdiers versus the Crypt Ghouls. And the undead here have an advantage in that they still have always strikes first. So the Crypt Ghouls go before anything else, but the Halberdier champion will challenge. First of all, they need to take their fear, and they're within range of Volkmar, so they use his leadership of 9. Easy pass. Crypt Ghoul Champion has 3 attacks, 2 hit, and one of those was a 6 to hit, which means because they have poisoned attacks, a roll to hit of 6 is an automatic wound. So rolling for the other, nothing. He just gets his armor save, which he fails, and does he have a ward? He does not have a ward because he was not within range, so I'm afraid he is dead because he failed his armor save against the poison. The Crypt Ghouls then get 13 attacks against the Halberdiers because each on the front rank have 2 attacks each, but the supporting can only provide 1, so 13. 2 more poisoned and then 5 hits. An additional 1 hit, 1 of which is saved, so 2 more die. That's the back rank gone. Overall, I was hoping for a bit more from that because they're about to get carved up. They have absolutely no armor. So 10 Halberdiers because they struck so fast this guy could step up into the gap. 5, plus 1 strength from their halberds, so that is 4 wounds, no armor at all. I don't generally use Crypt Ghouls because I find their complete lack of armor underwhelming, and unless you hit them with such a massive force that you can tank the losses and or deal enough damage, they're just not going to stand up. And yeah, the Crypt Ghouls, they don't even have a standard, they can't have one. So 2 for ranks, the Halberdiers get 1 for banner, 3 for rank, so they win by 4, and that is another 4 Crypt Ghouls lost. Over here, Volkmar will challenge. Volkmar's going to kill whatever he fights, but this is going to be accepted by Rekia. And you will find out why very shortly. Right now, in fact, because we're about to do that fight. So Rekia has been kitted out because the necromancers, they're not very good at combat, so that's why they brought along Rekia, who is going to Rekia Volkmar. That was not a deliberate pun, I promise. So he has been given the Night Shroud and the Biting Blade. The Night Shroud means enemy models in base contact, such as Volkmar, do not benefit from strength bonuses from weapons and have always strikes last. The Biting Blade gives him armor piercing, so basically he is a stealth character killer. And he's just snuck into this unit. Well, I say snuck into this unit, he's carrying a big banner. But because the enemy doesn't know what magic items you pick, you can do something like this and just have this sneaky thing in the unit that's just going to wreck the kitted out heroes who try and kill him. You see, Volkmar, the reason he normally kills things when he fights is because when he's on the war altar, his staff of command gives him +2 strength. So normally that is incredibly helpful, but obviously he doesn't get that. So Volkmar, his entire model gets always strikes last, and Rekia has always strikes first. And, sorry I'm piling rules on here, as Volkmar is riding the war altar, it counts as a chariot, meaning you can target the character separately from the chariot, and if the character dies, the chariot will remain. So he is going to strike at Volkmar directly. Oh yeah, almost forgot, the war altar has impact hits d6, so it does 4 impact hits on the unit. At strength 5, so that is 4 wounds. And at that strength, there is no armor, so that is just 4 dead right off the bat. And that does contribute to resolution. But the other thing is that I bought the Horn of Sigismund for the War Altar, which means the War Altar causes terror, and therefore the entire model is immune to fear. Anyway, Rekia's attacks. 3 1s. Oh! I spent like 5 minutes talking about, here, look at all the special rules he has to make him amazing at killing characters, and then he rolls 3 1s. Warhammer! Volkmar's attacks, 1 hit. I thought that was going to be a double one as well. Without his strength bonus, he doesn't wound. Oh, sorry, he also does have hatred, so he gets to re-roll to hit, and it's still a miss. Then the 2 horses pulling it, 1, and no wound. So that was anticlimactic, but the skeletons do still have always strikes first, so they get to go against the Greatswords unit. These 3 can only hit Priest Dion, so they are going to be going for him. But they do need to take a fear, because it's every unit, not each side. So 8, that is a pass, because they're using Volkmar's 9. So the skeletons get 2 hit, no wounds. And then it is 16, because they get the 3rd rank from a horde, and there is the champion. 16 skeletons against the greatswords. 9. But the issue here is going to come with their massive armor save. 6 wounds, 4 successful saves, so 2 greatswords dead. That is not many, because basically every 4+ sort of halves the results. So like 4+ to hit, 4+ to wound, 4+ armor save, you know, it's not going to be much. Dion has a great weapon, so he goes last. Actually, all of them go last. They all have great swords. So, yeah, Dion next. 1. But they have hatred, so he does get to re-roll. I didn't mean to re-roll both of those, sorry. Still on 1. 2. Massively high strength, so 2 wounds, no armor, but they do get a parry, and this is why I gave them shields and hand weapons instead of spears, so that nothing would happen. 10 greatsword attacks because of the champion. By the way, in case anyone doesn't know why I always say that, it's because the champion in a unit almost always has 2 attacks compared to, or at least 1 more attack compared to everything else. 8 hits. This is going to be painful for, well, they're skeletons, but you know. 7 wounds. Oh, hang on, they do get their parry. Which, oh wow, 2 of them actually pass, so only 5 die. So that was not as bad as it could have been. So that's not too many skeletons, considering they were fighting a war altar and great swords. Banner, battle standard, and 3 ranks, because it's a maximum of 3. They have the banner and 3 ranks. Oh, so overall they only lose by 1. So unstable, they lose 1 more skeleton. That isn't too bad. I really expected that to be a lot more punishing. And with that, we go into Sylvania Turn 3. So yeah, this isn't by any means in the bag, but this is where we use the Legion of Necromancers in order to get some new guys. So I'm just going to pull these back a little, because the mistake I made before was leaving them too close. They still need to be within the 6 quite comfortably, but now we don't really have much artillery to worry about, so I can have them a bit further back without risk of being sniped by pistoliers or a mortar, or a cannon. So yeah, they just need to be within 6 inches in order to keep this skeleton unit up. Yeah, there's no chance they're going to be able to charge them, is there? that would be a bit of a pipe dream. Yeah, they're like 24 inches away. That's far outside of their range. Then again, it's not that far, because they've got a movement of 8. Can they charge the... No. I think what I'm better off doing is capitalize. The Black Knights are going to die. I'm sorry, but they are. They don't have anything important. They're just like a shock unit that happened to hit the biggest tank in the army. So I think what the Hex Wraiths are better off doing is... The thing is, the cannon isn't a threat to anything apart from the Hex Wraiths. Now that everything here is either in cover or in combat, the Hex Wraiths, I think, should pivot and assist on the front line. Is that going to hurt them more than it's going to help them? I think they're going to die if they attack the swordsman. The Great Cannon is the only real other threat, or they can come in to help here. So I think they're going to have to come in to help here. So they do not have a musician, so I'm just going to have to pivot them. Pivoted 6 inches, and then 2 inches forwards. And that's the best I can do. And I know it's giving them a much nicer target for the Great Cannon, but I'm going to have to rely on that 2+ ward save, because otherwise the Hex Wraiths are just going to waste their time going after the cannon, which is irrelevant. Magic! Oh wow, 11. Channeling Empire. 1. Channeling Vampire. 1. So the vampires have their maximum possible 12 magic dice. This could be a really, really good one for recovering the losses. Considering they only lost 8 skeletons, they can easily recover that if they get a couple of spells through. Unfortunately for Ewald, he can't do his Caress of Lenith anymore because it's a direct damage. It can't be cast into combat. I guess he wasn't expecting Volkmar, or he didn't know Volkmar would be here. He wasn't expecting all of their casters to be in combat. So I guess that means I can use all of my magic on regenerating things. But first of all, the Curse of Years has to be dispelled at the very beginning. So God, they've got so much. Is it worth it? Yeah, because they're going to die on a 4+. Like, half of the halberdiers are just going to die at the end of the phase if they don't get rid of this. So I guess... But then again, they're going to do... I suppose they're just going to regenerate, and if the halberdiers are still alive, then they can kill the crypt ghouls, and skeletons are only skeletons. So yeah. Alright, they're going to put in... Oh god, 4 dice to guarantee that Curse of Years is gone, which they get. They needed a 12 to dispel that, so that is dispelled. This is the real downside with not bringing any actual wizards, because the priests and arch-lectors and Volkmar are not wizards. They have no wizard level and therefore get no bonus to dispelling. Whereas Jacques, although he's pretty much only going to be casting low-level stuff, he gets a +4 because he's a 4th level wizard. And against, like, battle prayers, it's just they're going to have to put in a lot more dice to try and get stuff through just because he's so powerful. Suppose we can just do some low-level casting stuff here. So let's go with Kant casting Invocation of Nehek on 2 dice. Can he do that on 2? He's a level 1 wizard, so he needs 5 on 2 dice. That's possible. That's very possible. Yes, he can. They only have 3 dice to dispel, so they're going to have to pick very carefully what they do. And let's see, what's this? D6 plus 1. I don't think that's worth dispelling because they're only skeletons, so they're not going to bother. So they recover 4 skeletons. They were right not to dispel that. That is half of the stuff they lost last turn. Next, Timur is going to do the exact same thing. Invocation of Nehek on 2 dice. Needs a 5, which he gets. Again, not going to bother dispelling it because they're saving their last 3 dice for something that matters. So he regenerates D6 plus 1 as well. So 7. I think there are not enough oh no, there are enough skeletons. So I guess they did lose some before the combat. And this is the advantage that I have discovered, apparently, in this game, of a single huge block of skeletons. Because they have a lot more staying power, because they're affected a lot less by unstable, and because you can just surround them with lots of little casters, you can just keep them there forever. And although zombies, and I do really, really like the zombie tar pit, they can regenerate so many. They're also so weak and flimsy, you need to keep getting all of them. Otherwise, they're just going to crumble. Whereas the skeletons have a tiny bit more staying power between their slightly better weapon skill, their shields, etc. They have armor, so they are slightly better and therefore more likely to survive long enough for you to keep them alive. And a huge block like this is going to be very hard to shift. But also, because Kant cast an augment that targeted all, because Invocation, I believe, by default targets, all undead in range, that means the cart was targeted, and therefore all undead within range get always strikes first again. And that is a really, really fun thing. And now Jacques is also going to cast it, and he is within range of both of these. To target that one, he'd need a 28, so that one's outside of even the highest casting. So he is going to do the low casting on 3 dice this time, because this is the better... this spell has more effect. So 13 plus his level 17. Oh god, are they going to try and dispel that one? I think they need to try, because he's going to give them D6 plus 4 and can take them over their starting number, which is why I did him last. So I think they're also afraid of a Curse of Years. But they've got 5 dice, they're not going to be able to dispel a Curse of Years. No, they're going to try and dispel this one. So on 3 dice they need to beat 17. Oh, they don't. If that was a 6, it would have been irresistible. Look at that 6, that taunting 6. But no, they fail. So, Jacques successfully casts Invocation of Nehek, still on lowest level, but that is a D6 plus his level of 4, bringing 7 more skeletons back to the land of the not living. So that is the 1 that's left, and then he finds 6 more. So these are probably the greatswords. So that completes another rank of them. Look at how big this unit is. Look at it, I love it. Right, I do enjoy the vampire counts and how they play. Like, their lack of shooting sort of sucks, but at the same time, they can do this, and it's fun. Unfortunately, Evald is fairly useless. Like, he could use it to cast Terror on something, but Terror only makes a difference when you're charging. So I guess it's just going to be another Curse of Years. Because what else is there? So, Curse of Years on, who's it going to be? The Greatswords or the Halberdiers? Actually, what's the range on it? 18 and cannot be upcast. So they are out of range. That's a shame. They would have been a really good target for that. I'd say the Greatswords are fairly well locked down. It's the Halberdiers that are going to swing round here. Oh, hang on, sorry. The Crypt Ghouls, they were also within range, so they also recovered 7. They cannot go over their starting number, but that's okay because more than 7 were dead. So there we go. So all but 1 of the Crypt Ghouls comes back as well. Okay, yeah, that makes me feel better. Almost forgot that. God, I would have kicked myself. Right, yeah, I think a Curse of Years on the Halberdiers. If we can get rid of them, the Crypt Ghouls can come round and or deal with the Swordsmen. So, yeah, because the Swordsmen are over here, they're going to be slow. It's going to take them a little while to get over here. Maybe, let's see, maybe 2 turns to get over here. So that gives me like 2 solid turns to try and deal with this. So yeah, I'll cast Curse of Years on the Halberdiers. They have no Dispel left, so I just need enough to cast it on a 12. I think 3 dice is going to be sufficient because it gets a +4. 3 dice is not sufficient. So Curse of Years is not cast. I have 2 dice left. I could do a Dance Macabre. Reroll to hit. Yeah, that could help. Actually, yeah, I'm going to cast Dance Macabre. Needs a 6. Ooh, could be upcast. 2, 8 on 2 dice. No, I'd rather make sure I cast it. So yeah, Dance Macabre on a 6 on the Crypt Ghouls. So it gets a +4 to this. It casts it. So the Crypt Ghouls reroll to hit. With no shooting, we go into the combat. I want to do this one late if I can. So let's do some fun here. Let's start off with the Crypt Ghouls, who always strike first and reroll to hit. So, with no challenge left, the Crypt Ghouls just all attack the Halberdiers. That's 16 attacks because the front rank have 2 each and the champion has an extra 1 on top of that. Oh yeah, first of all, Fear, testing on Volkmar's 9, which they pass. 8, rerolled into 12. And of those, 4 are automatic wounds from poisoned. Oh damn, sorry. I got it wrong. The Crypt Ghouls have a toughness of 4. I thought they had a toughness of 3. So, I mean, it doesn't matter because literally all of them came back. Or all but 1. But, yeah, that was my mistake. 4 wounds, so a total of 8, including the poisoned. They get their meager armor, which actually bloody 4 of them passed, miraculously. But that is 4 Halberdiers dead, and unlike the Crypt Ghouls, these guys can't come back. Well, you know, not on their own side. Ha 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 ha, morbid. 10 Halberdier attacks. That's a lot of 1s and 2s. 1 hit. I guess they didn't like my morbid joke. So they're only wounding on a 4+, not a 3+. So yeah, no wound. That is bad for them. 3 ranks of Crypt Ghouls, 1 banner and 2 ranks. So the Halberdiers lose by 4. That is a turnaround I wasn't expecting. Yeah, they just got very unlucky with those rolls. So they are testing, they are not steadfast. The Crypt Ghouls have more ranks. So they're testing on the difference, testing on a 5, which they fail. They are not within range of their battle standard bearer, who is all the way over here. That wasn't the plan. He was planning, like I was planning on this unit being the bloody solid linchpin of my force here, but oh well. So yes, they flee 7, and I forgot to decide whether to, they're going to pursue. Who am I kidding? So 7. Oh, they get caught. The Halberdiers get run down. Oh no. That I really wasn't expecting. I thought the Halberdiers were going to smash the Crypt Ghouls. So, they move 7 forwards to there. Okay, this is suddenly turning very much against the Empire. But the cannon has a new target. Here, I should have done this fight first. Sorry, that was stupid of me, because there's a possibility it could have killed Volkmar. Anyway, they fled anyway, don't matter. But yes, Rekia versus Volkmar. Also, I forgot it again, didn't I? I forgot that things within range of the battle standard bearer that Rekia is carrying lose 1 fewer wounds from unstable. So actually the Crypt Ghouls and the Skeletons both would have benefited from that. I will try and remember that. There are so many little rules to do with undead. Rekia's attacks. Bloody nothing again. Come on, man. Get it together. Hit Volkmar. I know he's up high, but just reach is a longsword. Volkmar no longer has hatred. 1. And a wound. Armor save. Fail. And because of the stupid, really restrictive parry rules, although technically the Biting Blade is probably just a normal sword, he can't get a parry save because it's not a hand weapon. Blah. Anyway, so yes, he takes a wound. So Rekia is wounded. He does have 3 wounds, and, you know, these guys with Curse of Undeath, so a friendly character within 12 inch can recover as soon as they cast a spell. So basically, if any of these cast any successful spells and Rekia is still alive, he's going to be staying here for a while. Volkmar's horses, 1. No wound. 3 skeletons again against Dion. Testing on Fear, pass. Skeleton attacks against Dion, 3 misses. 16 skeleton attacks against the Greatswords, 9. 6 wounds. Ooh, only 2 passes, so 4 Greatswords die. Oh no, hang on, 5+ ward. Forgot the 5+ ward. Which saves 2 of them. Oh, that was instrumental. Dion, 1, no longer has hatred. And a wound. Gets a parry and fails. So that is 1 of the, 67 or something skeletons? 10 greatsword attacks, 6 wounds, 1 parried, so 5 more skeletons. And at the end we have 1 for the banner, 1 for the battle standard, 3 for rank, and then they have 1 for the banner and 2 for rank, so they win by 3. However, there is a battle standard bearer, I've remembered it, so they lose 1 fewer to unstable, so they only lose 2 more skeletons. So overall, considering this unit is getting permanently smaller, I'd say the skeletons are doing well. Over here, however, we're probably about to see the end of the Black Knights. So, Mannheim versus the Champion continues. Testing fear on 9. It is 9 because of the Archlector. They pass anyway. Alvin's attacks, bloody none. Black Knight Champion, 1. And that's a 6, a killing blow. So unless he passes, he doesn't get an armor save, so unless he passes his 5+ ward, he's just dead. Oh no! In an unbelievable twist, the Black Knight Champion beheads Alvin. He is just gone. Oh, like, Killing Blow has such a minor effect, and for combat resolution that counts for all of his wounds, so 2, I believe. Sort of unclear, but I think it should count as that. I think, yeah. So that is Alvin gone. Oh, wow. Okay. For the rest of the combat, Aglin will once again make way so that he can fight. And he's just seen his personal banner bearer die, so I'm almost tempted to give him hatred again, but no, only 1 hit. And no wound. He mustn't be that upset, or he's very upset, you know, depending on how you want to see it. Swordsman and Black Knight strike at the same time. I'll do the Black Knights first. So 3, 2 hit. No wounds at all. And then that's 19 swordsmen against the remaining 4 Black Knights. Well, 3 in the champion. 10. I think at this point I should start singing It's All Over But the Crying. 6 wounds. They do have a very good armor save. But bloody 3 of them fail. Oh, that is how many needed to fail to all but wipe out the unit. So that is the Battle Standard Bearer, and everyone but the Champion, who they technically cannot hit. So they're dead, and the banner. So at the end of it, the Swordsmen get 1 for the banner, 2 for rank, and the Black Knights get nothing. So instability wipes them out. Ooh, that was really not good for them, losing their Battle Standard Bearer like that. That was incredibly unlikely, but they are going to reform, and they are ready to march over and stop the Crypt Ghouls from flanking, I guess, but I still don't know how this could go. This is... yeah, everybody's taken a bit of a beating here. And now we go into Empire turn 3. Well, they're far outside of charging range. I think the swordsmen are just going to have to move up to there and march? They're definitely not within 8 of anything else. Yeah, far outside of 8. So I think they should then march because they want to put themselves in the way. They want to make it very, very clear that if the Crypt Ghouls try and attack any of these in the rear, they're going to get hit by the swordsmen. And that if the Hex Wraiths want to do anything, they're going to have to deal with this big block of swordsmen. Magic, 8. Channeling Empire, 1. Channeling Vampire, none. I don't know that Shield of Faith is the right thing to keep casting. I think they can see... I mean, I think it is helping them, but I think they also need to prioritize Hammer of Sigmar to get that reroll to wound. They really need to start doing some more damage. Soulfire could work. Ooh. Soulfire could really work. I mean, flaming attacks is irrelevant, so the unit stuff doesn't matter here. But all enemy models in contact take a strength 4 hit, undead take strength 5 instead. So Volkmar could cast that and hit all of these. Although it is actually a little bit funny that the War Altar only has 1 more model in contact than Priest Dion does. Just because, like, he's got 3 and he's got 4. Alright, I think I'll do the important ones first, and then if I have stuff spare, I'll do Soulfire. So I will go with Hammer of Sigmar being cast by Volkmar, because it gets +1. On 3 dice, they only have 5 to dispel. So yeah, 3 dice. 10, well 11, because of the +1. I think they're going to use 3 dice to try and dispel that. So yeah, that's dispelled, because he gets... I mean, he doesn't need the +4 that he gets, but he does have it. So no Hammer of Sigmar from Volkmar. He will then do a Shield of Faith, this time on 2 dice. No, this one on 3 dice as well, make it hard to dispel. 14 with his +1. Gonna try and 14, he's not going to be able to dispel that on 2, he'd need to roll 10. Yeah, he'll let them have that one because it's not important here. It really isn't making that big a difference. They're ward saves. But it's more important that he stops them from hurting his people than from being hurt. And then I think 3 dice by Dion to try and cast Hammer of Sigmar on his own unit. So there's a second chance of trying to get this. 3 dice, doesn't get any pluses. 13. 2 dice, +4. No, 11, so it is cast. So the Great Swords do get it. So the Great Swords have a 5+ ward and a reroll to wound. That is not bad. Shooting, the only thing is the cannon, and ooh, Crypt Ghouls or Hex Wraiths. The Hex Wraiths, they've got a +2. It's probably not worth trying that. So I guess they're going to go for the Crypt Ghouls. And it's going to go there, nice 6 inches off them, so that when it overshoots by 8 inches, it does still hit them. 19.7 to there, so hits the 2nd rank. And now it bounces by 4 inches. I'm fairly sure that is enough to hit both ranks behind, so 31.6, yeah. So that hits, the way cannons work is they hit a maximum of 1 per rank, I believe. Yeah, 1 per rank, so that hits 3 Crypt Ghouls at strength 10. And I've been reading a lot about, like, cannons and stuff, and people refer to them as, like, snipers, because you can't like miss with them. You can either overshoot or undershoot, but you always shoot in the line you shoot. Anyway, yeah, very high chance to wound. Still fails on one of them though. I picture it as ripping his arm off. He doesn't care. So 2 Crypt Ghouls die. Again. Gotta do all of this as one, so we're continuing the Rekia Volkmar duel. Now, Rekia, if it's not too much to ask, could you please maybe hit the guy you're fighting? That would be nice. And 1. I mean, technically he did what I asked. He also has Killing Blow, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't wound. Whatever. Rekia, you git. You worthless git. We've given you all of this really good equipment. Why can you not hit anything? Anyway, Volkmar. 2 hit. 1 wound. Armor. Fails. And doesn't get a parry, so he does take another wound. It's possible Rekia could die this turn. 2 horses. 1. Ooh. No, Rekia won't die this turn. Which means he's hopefully, probably, going to get restored to full health in the next magic phase. Testing Fear for the Greatswords on 9. They pass. 3 skeletons against Dion, all miss. 16 against the Greatswords. That's a lot of 1s. 6. 1 wound. Not saved by armor though, so that is 1 kill. Good, just continue chipping away at this unit which is going to carve into you now. The funny thing with this situation is Volkmar should have been absolutely amazing. That's why he accepted the challenge. He should have crushed whatever character went up against him and then proceeded to lay into the unit. But because of the Night Shroud item that Rekia has, it's just scuppered that. Dion's attacks, 2 wounds, neither parried. 10 greatswords, 9, wow. 7 wounds, 2 parried, 5 destroyed. 1 for the banner, 1 for the battle standard, 3 for rank, 1 for the banner, 2 for rank. So 4 more, because the battle standard. 4 more skeletons are destroyed by unstable. And we go into Sylvania, turn 4. Do I charge the swordsman with the Hex Wraiths? Oh, I don't know. Like, in the flank, they'll do well, but then when they reform, because they could win. Oh, I may be able to just, like, shock them. I don't actually know how well Hex Wraiths perform as shock infantry. Like, they're very effective. To be honest, I've never used the whole thing where they can move over something and hurt it. I've never been close enough and in a good enough position, but what I'm thinking, you see, is given another turn or 2, they can win here. So what I could do, like the vampires can win here. So what the Hex Wraiths could do is slow down the swordsman, and even if they sacrifice themselves, it doesn't matter. And then give these guys time enough to finish grinding these guys down, maybe do enough damage here to weaken this, and rely on the 2+ ward in order to really make a difference. Alright, I'm going to try it. Are they in the front or in their flank? They're definitely in the flank. Okay. So 5 on 3 dice. Ooh, bloody just. They rotate and then and hit the flank. Like so. And to be honest, I never know whether to... did I size these right? I think I did. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's because these are smaller. Sorry, I'm really paranoid about the base sizing. Alright, there we go. So that's hit there. That is locking them in place. That is also getting in the way of the cannon. And should keep this swordsman. And you see, in any other army, I would then charge with these guys, or try and charge with these guys in the front. But with the vampire counts, I've learned that that is a bad thing to do. So I will not do that. What I instead will do is, he's still within... No, they're not quite within. Unfortunately, they don't have a musician. You don't get Crypt Ghoul musicians. So I can't do a quick reform. Ooh, sorry. These guys are Terror. So they do have to take a panic test. I forgot that. So they're testing on Aglim's 9. And they pass. Okay, never mind. Because when a unit with terror charges, they have to take a flee reaction unless they pass a leadership test. So they held, and I need to remember charge reactions and stuff. There are only 3 missing ghouls, so it's probably not worth like getting these into a position where they can get healed again. That's not necessary. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them back an inch, and then back an inch. So each of those, because it's going backwards, costs double, so that's their 4 inches of movement. And this way they're preparing, excuse me, voice gave out, they're preparing for when the swordsmen beat the hex wraiths and then continue in this direction. Magic, 8. Channeling Empire, nope. Channeling Vampire, 1. And the reason, by the way, in case that you didn't know, the reason I'm rolling the vampires on here is because this can only roll 3 at a time. You can't roll 4. So I'm having to do the 4 at once on there instead. Damn, they're just out of range of Curse of Years. Alright, if they get any closer, I'll be years cursing them. Invocation of Nehek by Kant on Lois, so on 2 dice. Needs a 5. Ooh, fails it. That's not good. Let's try one on Timur. This time on 2 dice. Needs a 5, gets it. Are they going to try and dispel that? Probably not, because they'd need to use 3 dice, and what else could they do? Another invocation, obviously. To be honest, Evald, because everyone's in combat, Evald is not particularly helpful here. Well, you could potentially do a Curse of Years on the Great Swords, because that's a hex that can be cast into combat. Definitely going to have another invocation coming, so I think they're going to let this one go through, because he's only a level 1, so he gains d6 plus 1 new skeletons, or returning skeletons, so, 7, that is unlikely high. There you go. Unfortunately, that is out of range of Jacques, so he really, really needs to get hit by an augment in order to give everything always strikes first. That's been incredibly useful. Alright, I guess he's going to go with 5 dice on an invocation, and if he's doing it on 5 dice, he may as well upcast it. How far are these? How far are they? 21. So they are out of range even on maximum, so in that case, he may as well go for a mid-upcast on a 12, minus his level on an 8. Almost certainly going to pass it. Surprisingly close, but I mean 16 anyway. 4 dice to try and dispel. Oh, 19, they do dispel it. So that means they do not have Always Strikes First this time, because Kant failed it. Combat, let's try this one. So, continuing Rekia versus Volkmar. Without the Always Strikes First, they actually strike at the same time. Rekia's attacks. 1. Wound. Is this the first time he's rolled a wound? Volkmar has a 5+ ward save. He also has a 5+ regeneration. And I believe regeneration doesn't work for killing blow as well. But anyway, he's got the ward save, which he fails. So Volkmar does actually take a wound from Rekia. About bloody time. Oh, also, because Timur cast a what's it called? A Curse of Undeath. When a spell from the law is cast, a friendly character within 12 recovers a lost wound. So, not Kant. Rekia does heal. It's just really awkward that I only got 1 off. I was really counting on multiple, but anyway. Volkmar's attacks. 1. Wound. Saved. 2 horses. Both miss. And the duel goes on, slowly making a little bit of headway this way then that way. But now that the skeletons no longer have Always Strikes First, it's actually the... Oh no, it's still the skeletons, because all of these have great weapons. Never mind. So literally the only difference them having Always Strikes First makes is Rekia attacking slightly before Volkmar instead of at the same time. That's bizarre. Testing Fear for the Great Swords on 9. Ooh, that's a pass, never mind. 3 against Dion. 1. Wound. 5 plus armor. Fail. 5 plus ward. Fail! So Dion actually gets wounded by one of the skeletons. 16 skeletons against greatswords. 12. 6 wounds. All 4 failed the armor and the ward save. All 4 fail the ward, so that is 4 more greatswords dead. So that's the back rank and 1 more. They are being slowly whittled down. This great unit of great swords are greatly being diminished. And I think that's great. Dion, 2 hit. Double 1. Oh, that is awkward. No wounds at all. But I believe they do have a reroll to wound. So this is probably going to change it to 2 wounds. Yep. At that strength, no armor, but they do get a parry. Neither of which saves. 10 greatsword attacks. 8. 7 wounds. Rerolled into 8 wounds. Oh, and parry. Wow, 3 parried, so only 5 dead. So they actually just lost as many as they regained this turn. So they lost 7 and gained 7. So, yeah, this is why I really enjoy them. Right, so 1 for banner and 1 for rank. 1 for banner, 1 for battle standard, and 3 for rank. So the vampire side wins by 2. They have turned the tide. However, both the war altar and the greatswords have stubborn, so they are both always steadfast. So they are both testing on a 9 anyway. Volkmar, pass. Greatswords, pass. The grind goes on. But this fight, I don't know how this one's going to go. So we've got the Hex Wraiths, they're fast cavalry, so no impact. They pass the terror, so they automatically pass the fear. And the Hex Wraiths have always strikes last, so we actually start off with 3 swordsmen. Although Aglim will push to the front. Yeah, he's going to make way. He's a bit hesitant because they are ghosts with scythes, burning scythes, but he will fight as best as he can. Aglim attacks. 2. 2 wounds. 2 plus ward. I forgot to do challenges. Oh well. Because I completely forgot to do challenges, and Aglim would definitely, probably, maybe be in the challenge. He would have to be. There is no champion anymore, I don't think. Yeah, no champion, so it would have to be Aglim. I mean, I could, actually. If Aglim's going to be in the challenge, I could say, oh, yes, that was this guy. Yeah, because it would make sense for the Hexwraith champion to single out Aglim, because if you can get rid of him, that's a great bonus. So yeah, they were both against the champion, and they were both saved by the ethereal ward. Skeletal Steed strikes back and misses. Hexwraith champion. Ooh, 2 hit. Plus 2 strength. So that is 2 wounds. He does get an armor save, but it's not much. Both fail. And you do not get a parry to the flank. So I think that's Arch-Lector Aglim, one of the most powerful people in the Empire, just died. Huh. Well, that's pretty bad for them. Also, something I do need to make note of, because it's going to be important in the victory points. Because Alvin was killed by a unit champion and not by a character in a challenge, that changes the victory points that it's worth. And that also happens for Aglim. Well, that is pretty damning, to say the least. Also, there goes the back rank of Swordsman, because he steps up. I mean, technically he doesn't yet. Technically he does actually step up after. I've just realised I bought Aglim 2 shields. I bought him a shield, and I also bought him the spell shield item. So he was just dual wielding shields, and unfortunately the bonus doesn't stack. Oh well, the shield was only 4. Sorry, a fire engine has just pulled up at the end of my road. I'm not sure why that's there. That's a bit worrying. Yeah, the shield was only 4 points, so it wouldn't have made a big difference, but that was a bit silly of me. 2 swordsmen, both hit. No wounds. With 3 horses and 5 hex wraiths, who are now going to be striking against the unit. Horses. 2. 1 wound. Not saved. So that is another guy killed by a horse. A skeletal ghost horse. And then 5 Hex Wraith attacks, 2. 2 wounds. Actually, I did forget that Hex Wraiths ignore armor saves anyway, so yeah, Aglin was pretty screwed. Right, where was I? Sorry, a guy from the fire service knocked, and I don't currently have a key for my front door. It doesn't matter why, but I had to run around, and that was a whole load of anxiety and uncertainty, and I still don't know why the guy was knocking, because he said, oh, don't worry about it, and then left, and I'm so confused. But anyway, I have now completely lost where I was. I think I've just rolled to wound with the Hex Wraiths and realised that they ignored armor saves. They get no extras, they get a banner, but the swordsmen are not disrupted because they need at least 2 ranks to hit them, so they do get their rank bonus of 2. But the swordsmen do still lose by 2. So the swordsmen are testing on 5, which is their 7 minus the combat resolution. So they actually panic. Hang on, they've got more. Nope, they've got more ranks. Doesn't matter, they rolled an 8. Sorry, I'm really thrown. Yeah, they're steadfast because they actually have more ranks than the Hex Wraiths. So yeah, they were steadfast, which means they're testing on a 7, but they rolled an 8, so they do still panic. So they flee. I can't believe the Hex Wraith broke them. They flee 7 and are pursued because of Swift Strides. Oh my, they're wiped out. They are wiped out by the Hex Wraiths because they're pursued 11. I did not in any way expect that result. Well, it's all over but the crying as we go into Empire turn 4. 5? What turn is this? Turn 4. Empire turn 4. Bloody hell, really? Sorry, I'm so thrown in this game. I really feel like I've missed stuff. No moving, so... Magic, 8. Channeling Empire, it's actually only 2 dice, so only using those 2, not that one. So 1. Channeling Vampires, 2. Wow, we've been getting a lot of channeling in this game, more than usual. So now it's basically all on Volkmar. The question is, can Volkmar even get out of this battle alive? He is surrounded. Alright, let's go with Shield of Faith on 3. He needs a 3. He gets an 11. So Shield of Faith. To be honest, I think they're going to let that through because the Shield of Faith is not really much of an issue here. At this point, they are so surrounded, all they need to do is just keep hitting them. And for now, combat resolution doesn't matter, and it's just how many they can kill off. It doesn't matter if the skeletons die. Oh, so no, it's the opposite of what I was saying. The Shield of Faith is the one that they want to get rid of. So actually, yes, alright, they're going to... I've changed my mind. They're going to spend 4 to try and dispel that, and they need to beat 11, which they very, very easily do. No Shield of Faith. Oh, they needed to beat 12 because the +1 for Volkmar casting, but they also got a +4 for Jacques trying to dispel, so they had 17, so it doesn't matter. Dion is going to cast Shield of Faith on 3. Ooh, irresistible. So that is a Shield of Faith on the Great Swords. And as my handy spell cards say, this is an innate bound spell, which means that just means he can't cast further bound spells, so that is all that Dion can do this turn. And now we'll go for a Hammer of Sigmar cast by Volkmar, so it will affect all within 6 inches. So again, needs a 3. Ooh, a 16 plus his 1, so a 17 is pretty good. They've only got 3 dice to dispel. Oh, they don't get it, so that is Hammer of Sigmar, reroll to wound, affecting both Volkmar and the others. They are really making a go of it this turn. Shooting, the cannon's going to go for the Crypt Ghouls. I mean, it feels like a drop in the ocean at this point, but, like, that rock, I think the vampires have used this rock spectacularly. Like, just because it's impassable. There is just no way the cannon can get them. Maybe the cannon should have deployed. I mean, it had to deploy on this edge, didn't it? So it had to have deployed, like, here in order to get a shot off, but there were the Black Knights here at the time. So yeah, I think the positioning has just screwed the Empire. And to be honest, that all stems from them deploying first. Maybe they shouldn't have deployed the artillery so far forward. But, like, the hill was tempting. They probably should have deployed it much further back and made use of the range, ignoring the hill. Yeah, because it was the artillery here getting smashed, and the Pistoliers. Who could have seen that coming? Cannon aiming here. So, roll for overshot. 8 inches, that's quite a bit. 20.6. God, they keep hitting the second bloody rank of these. Yeah, so that hits the second rank, and then bounces. Misfire, doesn't bounce, hits 1 Crypt Ghoul. And I've lost the marker. There it is. So yeah, hits that 1 Crypt Ghoul. Wound, obviously. So, yeah, there's just 1 Crypt Ghoul killed by a cannonball. And then we're back to Rekir versus Volkmar. And they still don't have always strikes first, so striking at the same time, Rekir first. 2 hits, sorry, misread. 1 wound. Oh, he does have an armor save. Sorry, the chariot the war altar is on gives him a 5+, plus his armor increases it to a 4+. Whoops. I can't remember if I accounted for that for the wound he took. I don't think I did, because it's like, oh, he's only got a 6+, so therefore it goes straight through it. So I think he probably would have gotten armor. Yeah, I'm going to roll the armor for the last one. He failed it. Doesn't matter. Carry on. Armor for this one. Saved it. Oh. God. Oh. Sorry, I have also just noticed that the Night Shroud gives models in base contact always strikes last. I did know that, I'd forgotten it, so Volkmar is striking after Rekir anyway. It doesn't matter, it changes absolutely nothing that's happened, but I just thought I'd point out that I have now realised that. Volkmar's attacks, 1, no wound. The Horses, 1, no wound. Testing on Volkmar's 9 for the Great Swords. Pass, their fear. 3 skeletons against Dion, 1, no wound. 16 against Great Swords, 8, 3 wound. 2 failed the armor, and both failed the ward, so that is 2 dead. I mean, this combat is getting kind of slow now, because, I mean, Rekir and Volkmar, like, that's the linchpin of this, and they're just both failing to wound the other. Dion's attacks, 2 wounds, neither parried. 10 great swords, 7, 6 wounds, plus the reroll, still not a wound, so that is 6 more. So they get 1 for the banner, they get 1 for the banner, 1 for the battle, and 3 for rank. Oh, they get 1 for rank as well. So the Empire side wins by 3, taking off. Oh no, not quite that, because the Battle Standard Bearer. I remembered it. So they only lose 2 to Unstable. And yeah, they really need to recoup their losses because they're beginning to diminish. That said, you know, not a good state for the Empire anyway. As we go into Sylvania, turn 5. Are they within charge? Oh, they are. They are within the front rank of the Hex Wraiths. I mean, they did so well before, didn't they? 13s, they only need 5. I think they're going to do it. I think this is where we absolutely crash into them and just wreck them up from every angle. So yeah, they complete their charge. So they treat all terrain as open, so they can just move straight through this impassable terrain, being ghosts. And the Crypt Ghouls are going to rotate 4 inches so that next turn they can also charge in. Not that they could actually help with the Volkmar fight. That is entirely Rekir. Rekir is just soloing this bloody war altar. Magic. 4. Not much. Channeling Empire. Channeling Vampire. None. Right, they have so few dice and they need to do a lot with it. So, I guess we're just going to have to go for 2 basic invocations from Kant and from Jacques. From Kant, on a 6, plus is 1, so 7, that's a pass. They are going to let that through. They regain d6 plus 1, 2. And now Jacques, same spell, plus 4 to 11. And then they're going to use 3 to try and dispel that. Ooh, they manage it. No more skeletons. No shooting, so straight back into the combat. Rekir versus Volkmar. By the way, with this battle, I am picturing Rekir literally climbing up onto the thing, and I know the horses keep trying to hit him, but they've, done absolutely no damage. So I'm just picturing it as Rekir dueling Volkmar atop the War Altar of Sigmar, and Volkmar just like spewing curses at this unholy abomination on top of a shrine to his god. Rekir. Bloody 3 attacks. Finally, we're getting somewhere. 2 wounds, one of which is a killing blow, which means all of his remaining wounds and regeneration gone. So he can only use his ward on that. Armor save on the other one. Failed. He does have both a 5+ regeneration, and I believe he also has a 5+ ward save. Yeah, it turns out it's actually a 4+ ward save. I feel I can't remember if I gave him that. I think I may have just given him a 5+ when he took that other wound. Bit late now. I don't remember. I'm fairly sure I didn't know it was a 4+. Well, he's got to take 2 of these for the wounds he's just taken. And he failed them both. I should have rolled them separately, because then I'd know which one was the killing blow, but it doesn't matter in this case. He failed them both. So even if he did still have that 3rd wound, I am vindicated, because I'm afraid Volkmar the Grim, Grand Theogonist of the Empire, has just been beheaded on the War Altar of Sigmar by Rekir Nightlord, the White King. Oh, that's really bad. Oh no. So the War Altar does continue to fight, but technically the challenge is over, I think, because they have separate wounds. It's a chariot, so chariots are still separate. So technically the character is dead. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that Archlector, Aglim, and Volkmar have both been beheaded in this battle. Oh, the Empire is going to be left reeling. I guess technically, if we're continuing the challenge sort of in this round, the horses do get to strike now against Rekir. 1 hit. No wound. Okay, well, that's the challenge over. Uh-oh. 3 skeletons against Dion. 1. No wound. 16 against greatswords. 9. 3 wound. 1 saved by armor. None saved by ward. So 2 more greatswords die. They are down to their last 2 ranks. Hexwraiths and greatswords both have always strikes last, so they technically strike at the same time. You don't count initiative order with always strikes first or last. So I'll do Dion, and then I'll do the greatswords, and then I'll do the Hexwraiths. Dion. 1 hit. Wound. Parried. Wow. Oh, I've remembered that the 2 horses here do not have always strikes last, so they actually go before the greatswords. 1. No wound. 7 greatsword attacks against the skeletons, because one's in contact, cannot support strike. 6. 6 wounds. Another 2 parries. Wow, 3 parries in 1 turn, but that is for dead. So that is the back rank and 1 more. Not that at this stage I think it really matters. 3 against the Hexwraiths. 2. 2 wounds. Oh wow, 1 actually fails its ethereal save, so that is 1 dead. And then 2 Hexwraiths. 2 hit. 2 wounds, no armor, but they do get their ward, both of which fail, so that is 2 more greatswords dead. So at the end of it, the greatswords get 1 for banner, the skeletons get 1 for banner, and 3 for rank, meaning they win by 7. They no longer get to use Volkmar's leadership, as he is dead, so they are on Dion's, which is 8, minus the 7 difference. Oh no, they're stubborn. They're always steadfast, regardless of how many people they die or how surrounded they are, or the fact that they just watch their Grand Theogonist just get beheaded. So yeah, they are still testing on an 8. You know, a lot of people don't like stubborn as a rule. I mean, they fail. That's really bad for them. So they're going to flee, and the Hex Wraiths are going... the Hex Wraiths are going to pursue, but the Skeletons can't because they're still in contact with the War Altar. So they flee 9 and are pursued 10. They're dead. Oh no, Priest Dion and the remaining Greatswords get run down by the Ghost Reapers. Oh, that's really bad. At this point it is just over. There's just a cannon and a riderless bloody War Altar. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Stubborn, and they don't like the Horde and Disruption and so on. I really like these rules. They're things I really enjoy about 8th edition. As we go into Empire Turn 5. Yeah, there's no movement, there's no magic, we just have a cannon. So, I guess the cannon's going to shoot at the Crypt Ghouls again? Can't shoot, there's no point shooting at the Hex Wraith, it's not going to do much. Whereas the Crypt Ghouls is going to have a nice side-on. Aiming there, so it overshoots by 10. Wow, this thing's been massively overshooting all bloody game. Right, 19. Seriously? Frickin' hell. Completely overshot. Just like landed here. Oh, and just crashes into this rock. So I imagine that like Evold here and Jacques just like get showered by a little bit of rock. And they're just like, oh well, we just watched the Grand Theogonist get beheaded. We're in really good moods. And like if there was any doubt over whether Evold had switched sides, he just witnessed this as... I mean, he wasn't technically involved with it, but like the fact that he was watching this, and he's probably feeling conflicted. Because it's not that he was ever a believer really in Sigmar in that way. He was never devout. It was more about the magic and the learning aspect of it. He enjoys necromancy from an academic perspective. He's just impressed that a resurrected set of bones in ornate armor can kill one of the most powerful and important people in the Empire. I think that vindicates his belief that necromancy is the path forward. So let's have the War Altar versus these guys. So they're no longer limited to just Rekir, because I honestly have no idea if this is the rule in a challenge, but the character is dead, so as far as I'm concerned, the challenge is over. So it is just the entire unit against Volkmar's altar. And they still have Always Strikes Last because of Rekir. So they're testing Fear on the Horses 5, which they fail, because apparently that is all that's left. Like, there's no one else riding it, but as far as I can tell by the way the rules are written, the horses keep fighting. Rekir's attacks. 3. Also suddenly realised that Rekir has the biting blade, so actually Volkmar's armor save would have been 1 less than normal. Doesn't matter, he's dead. Very, very dead. Ooh, 2 wounds against the altar. Technically the altar does still have the Horn of Sigismund. There's no one alive to blow it. I feel we're getting into some really odd territory here with the rules. Like, at what point does the horn that, when blown, inspires fear, stop causing fear? Because logically it shouldn't now, but rules as written it does. So technically they didn't have to test. Anyway, the War Altar's 5+ armor is reduced to nothing because of the biting blade giving armor piercing and the strength, so they just have the 4+ ward, which both saved. Sorry, this should have tested for fear, for breaking at the end, which it would have failed, and then would have fled 10, Swift Stride, sorry, 12, would have fled 12, and the skeletons would have pursued it. 9. Sorry, this is not what would have happened. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this would have actually fled 12 this way, and these would have moved as far forward as they could, but they got blocked. Sorry, I completely messed up this turn because I forgot that they would have to test as well. I thought, oh, because he's dead, they don't need to test. That's not how it works. The side lost, not just the unit. So yes, this was fleeing. I mean, I should really use the fear that they failed, that they didn't need to take, ? And yeah, so I'm going to say that they would have failed again. Sorry, I'm fumbling this, but it's the end of the game. It doesn't matter. So they flee. Sorry, again, Swift Stride says 6. 8. So they flee another 8 in this direction, which does actually take them into the wood, like so. And because they have touched the wood, that is technically them entering the wood. So they have to take a dangerous terrain test. And the important thing here is that chariots suffer greatly. I mean, in this case they didn't. But yeah, they take d6 wounds on a failed dangerous terrain test because chariots and woods really don't mix. Into turn 6 of Sylvania. Let's wrap this up as quickly as we can. No one can do anything here. Like, what is the range on Caress? It's a direct damage. He needs to have line of sight. So Evald is going to move there. No, don't snap there. So he has line of sight to that. Yeah, and at this point, Jacques is going to like just lift a hand and all of the undead just stop moving. And Evald sort of glances round because he is feeling a little bit nervous. He's elated, but he's also a bit nervous. And Jacques just gives him this little nod, like, go on, finish off the war altars, Sigmar. So, we go into magic 6, and he's going to do a Caress of Lenif. I think he's probably going to need to upcast it just for the range. Yes, he is. So let's go with... Yeah, he's going to put everything into it. He doesn't want this to fail. He wants to look good. So 6 dice into this. Not irresistible. Fantastic. +2 for a total of 22. So they are going to use the 4 dice that the army can to try and dispel it. The army being a cannon and a chariot. They fail to dispel it. So the Caress of Lenif does 2d6 minus their strength. So 2d6 minus 3 hits. Oh, that's a powerful one. 11 minus the 3. My mistake. The War Altar has a strength of 5. So it is actually 6 hits, and they wound on a 4+, no armor. It's unlikely to destroy it, but that's 4 wounds. Surprisingly, the War Altar doesn't have any kind of magic resistance, but it does still get its ward save. Oh, that's 3 fails. So the War Altar takes 3 wounds as it gets caressed by death magic. And I'm picturing like the golden griffin just sort of smashing and tumbling off. And the final turn, Empire turn 6. First of all, we test for the War Altar on 5. Fails. Proceeds to continue fleeing. 8. So 8 this way takes it further into the woods, so we're going to have to take another dangerous terrain. I don't know why I'm rolling it on this dice, but they pass. And then the last thing of the game... Ooh, I mean, that could be fun. Trying to shoot Evald. Ooh, I mean, it's going to be like a really bittersweet moment for Evald if he gets murdered by a cannonball right now, but... Right, let's aim there, because they've been overshooting all bloody game. Aim, yeah, 8 away. Fantastic. All right. And it fires and overshoots by 8 exactly. So that should be a direct hit. 26.2. So it hits directly in front of him. So as long as this doesn't get a misfire, Evald is being hit by a cannon. And, yes. So Evald just gets... hit in the stomach by a cannonball as the first time he's popped his head out from behind this rock. 2+ to wound. Yeah, he's wounded. And a great cannon does d6 multiple wounds. So he takes 4 wounds. So Evald pops out from behind this rock and immediately gets destroyed. I cannot believe that. That feels so mean. But it's like everything else stopped. He seemed like a good target. And with that, the game is over. Of the 110 in the Necromancer's army, we have 65 left standing. And of the 129 in Volkmar's army, 3 are left standing. I'm not counting the horses. For dead or fled, counting half-destroyed units as worth half points, the Empire scored 494. All they did was take out the Black Knights and Evald, and that's it. No halves at all. In addition, they seized one standard for 25 points, giving them a total of 519. Sylvania, on the other hand, with Dead or Fled, scored 1,896 points, plus 100 for the General, plus 100 for the Battle Standard, plus 75 for 3 Sea Standards, and they got 2 Underdog Challenges, which is when a champion defeats a character, giving them an additional 100 points for a total of 2,271. Overall, that gives a difference of 1,750 in Sylvania's favour. They crushed it. This is an absolute massacre. And I put this down to a couple of things. First of all, bad luck at the beginning. You know, having the linchpin of their force not come on and then have to come on at the edge of the board and then just not reach anything before it got wiped out. They did defeat the Black Knights, but that obviously wasn't enough. I think they got very unlucky against the Hex Wraiths, and that just spelled doom. But the other thing was the Night Shroud that Rekir was carrying. Because he had that, Volkmar was severely diminished in his fighting ability, and then just pinned down against one guy he just couldn't kill for the entire game. And then that just sort of stopped it. But yeah, this is going to cause massive, massive problems in the Empire, and I would not be surprised if Karl Franz himself takes to the field after this. There is blood that needs paying. Put in the comments any tips or tricks you have for how to play these armies better. Thank you for watching. Next time we'll be going back to Fieldorf, where Solland and Wissenland will be duking it out to see who gets to claim the city. Sylvania has another battle later on in the round, so check that out as well. And also check out the 2 mods for the board and the spell cards, both by me, linked in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you later.